Will be came back cancer-free, so praise God on that. So that's pretty good on that, for going through that surgery this past week. Pet Force has a prayer for the Evelyn Emick family and friends. She passed away June 20th. Then also Donna has a prayer request for her granddaughter Sarah. She'll be having a PET scan on Wednesday to determine what treatment can be done. She says we need a miracle from God. He's brought her this far. We know that He is with her, and we will trust in His will. So we will lift these up into prayer, and we'll have a prayer song, and we will go right to that. Lord, she has just gone through so much over the last year, and just the surgeries and just dealing with the cancer. Father, she has got a great spirit about her, and Father, we know that she is in love with you. But Father, we do ask, Father, that you may just rid her of this cancer, Lord, that you may perform a miracle and shock and all the doctors that have been working with Sarah. And Father, I know that in all things she gives you all glory, and Father, so Lord, just give her opportunities to witness and to lift you up. But Father, we do ask for just your hand to place upon her and give her healing. Father, we do ask that you be with Evelyn's family as she's passed this past week. Lord, that you may just bless them, and Father, just take care of them and lift them up. Be with them in their time of sorrow and sadness. And Lord, we give you praise because of Kurt's surgery this past week, and Father, how he's recovered well now, that the doctors have given that he's cancer-free after the surgery. Lord, we just ask continually to watch over Kurt, and Father, lay your hand upon him and strengthen him after the surgery as well. Lord, we thank you for all the blessings. And Lord, we just thank you for the opportunities that you give this church body to be together. Lord, thank you for this morning, and thank you for our fathers, and thank you for the example that they have made in many of our lives. And Lord, that we may, Father, just give them just a special recognition today. But Father, we thank you so much for being the Father that loves us, for being the perfect Father, for being the all-forgiving Father. And Lord, we just thank you for the love that you've shown us and how we need to show that to others. Father, we love you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
It's been a rough time getting back, but now that we're getting used to it, I think we're going to come together even stronger than before. As I figured out that I community meditation, something that came up in my brain, I get these notifications all the time about, as a reminder about what happened today, this week in history, and I think it's something that, something really important happened. This week, specifically on June 24th, 1948, the Soviet Union began to build the Berlin Wall around Berlin, and the Iron Curtain was officially raised in Germany and across Europe. 2 days after June 26, Allies, in response to this blockade, began to make airdrops. And at the height of the airdrops, probably about a week later, a plane arrived in the Berlin at the airport every minute. So just imagine that. Every minute a new plane started to come down, every single minute, dropping food. And in one day, they delivered alone 2.3 million tons of food, coal, and medical supplies. The Russians, in response to this, were very angry, of course, but this lasted for about 9 months. And the airlifts continued to happen until September of the next year. Obviously, the people of East Germany and obviously the people in Berlin were obviously seeking some sort of aid, and they didn't know quite what to do with it because they couldn't get any food or anything like that because everything was completely shut off. But this story reminds me of a Bible verse, and it reminds me of Psalm 9:9-10. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed and a stronghold in times of trouble. And if you see video of the event that took place, not only do you see planes flying over Berlin, something that years ago would have brought terror to the German people, but then all of a sudden they cut to civilians, and they're just in there, and they have their hands crossed, and they're looking up to God, and they're saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now that we're coming back from COVID, now that we're starting to become more of a church again, we're starting to see each other again, I see this church and I see other churches as a refuge. A time that we can come together and a time that we can praise and lift God together. And during this time of communion, not only is that a time that we come together, that come individually before the Lord, but a time that we also come together as a church before the Lord. So as you guys are taking communion, please remember that as this is a time that we take refuge. This is a place that we take refuge, and this is a time that we lift up and give thanks to the Lord for all the great things that He has given to us. If you're a Christian, you can partake in communion. And can all of you please bow your heads as we go to prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this day that you have given us. Thank you that we can have this time of refuge, this time of uplifting, and thank you, Lord, during this time of hardship and this time of uncertainty that you have always been there for us. You've always dropped the aid that we need. You've always given us grace. You've always given us everything that we needed and everything that we can ever want. Please be with us, Lord, as we continue throughout these next several weeks and months. And not only should this church be a refuge for ourselves, but a refuge to others. And please let us spread your word as your will allows it. And it's in your son's name I pray.
Great to see everybody here as we gather together, and happy Father's Day to all of our dads and all that. Sorry that, I don't know about you, but it feels like it's 1,000 degrees in here. Is it hot in here, you guys? Okay, dads, is it hot in here, you guys? Okay, I don't want to hear from moms. Your day was packed. Sure, the mom thinks it's not cold in here, or it's warm in here, not cold or not warmer. Dave told me to say it. So, very good. Well, hey, our new series that we're working on that we're going on through is Summer Stories. And last week we went through the story that Jesus gave us about the golden rule and how we need to live our lives. And what we're going to do is each week we'll be talking about a specific item, and especially about our stories that we'll be giving. And today we'll be talking about the burning bush. So if you open up your Bibles to Exodus chapter 3, that's where we're going to be camping out for a bit. But each week we're going to be talking about a specific item. And today is the bush, and last week was the rule. But we're going to be talking about, last week we talked about what we should be doing, how we should live. And today we're going to talk about sometimes when we're confronted with what we are to do, we kind of have a whole bunch of walls that we want to throw up and a bunch of questions and excuses that we want to do. And I think Moses gives us a great example of how we act in some way. We might not give all 5 of those questions to God or excuses to God. We might give 1 or 2 of them. We might just give 1 of them. But I think at different times in our lives, when God's approached us and said, "You need to," or whatever He has done for you, sometimes we might go, "But," and we have a couple questions for Him instead of just going and doing what He's asked us to do. So if you want to open up to the book of Exodus, chapter 3, and verse 1. It says, "Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the far side of the desert and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that the bush was on fire, and it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, and why this bush does not burn up. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, Here I am. And he said, Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the land of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites have reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. Now, what we have here, it's sometimes in our lives, I think I've heard people say, I know in my own life, I've said it, sometimes I just wish that God would vocally say something to me. Just tell me what I'm supposed to do. But you notice how, what Moses' reaction is to God's voice? What did he do? He hid, because he was scared. And if you look at about anybody who's heard the voice of God the first time, they're scared. Because it should be a scary thing when you hear the voice of God. Because it's God. And He's getting ready to tell you something. And it's probably scary. Because it's probably something that you aren't doing or supposed to do, and He's giving you a little nudge. Now, what we know of Moses is he's in the desert now because he was the prince of Egypt. He was in Egypt. He was considered royalty and did all that. But then he fled Egypt because he ended up killing an Egyptian who was beating another Israelite. And we can go. There's 1,000 things to look into that and look into Moses' profile and what he's done there. But here he is. He fled from Egypt. He's living in the desert. He's a shepherd now, just kind of living the life. No worries. And then there's this bush. And then God tells him, and God says, I have heard the cry of my people. And Moses would understand that cry. He would understand that the Israelites were mistreated. That would be news to him. And he says, I've heard their cry, and so I'm going to rescue them. I'm going to get them out of it. And that should have been something dear to Moses' heart, because he was willing to kill somebody because they were mistreating an Israelite. So he had to have a passion for that, a little flicker of flame going, whoa, yeah, go get him, God. Because I'm sure that whole first part of that talk that he's had with God, he's going, yeah, God's going to go get him. This is going to be great. And then God says, and I'm going to send you. That's when it got scary again. That's when Moses was like, whoa, let's put the brakes on this real quick. You're God, and I'm not. And so what happens is Moses gives a series of questions to God and excuses to God about what is going on. So his first question, his first excuse is, who am I? Who am I to go and do this? So he says to God, he's like, I am just a dude. Who am I to go into Egypt and do as you say? He says, so who am I? That I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? And so that was his first wall. He's like, I'm not important enough. I'm not the savvy person that you think I am. I fled from Egypt. I don't need to go there. That's the last place I need to be going. He had been several years. We could say up to about 40 years that he had been away from Egypt at this time. So Egypt has been a long time away. So he's not been around there too long. And now we got to look at also, nothing against age, but he's also an 80-year-old man at this time, 80-ish. Now he lived to 120, but I'm sure a lot of things. I'm a shepherd. I got a job. You see the stick? I got a job now. I got a family. I got a family here and I got to support. You want me to go to Egypt where they probably want to kill me? So he says, who am I? I'm a nobody. And you want me to go. And God's response was wonderful. And so, well, we back up a little bit. So we get his excuses that who am I? And sometimes we're that way too. Because we know if God has not spoken you in such a way to tell you what you're supposed to do. Like for me, I felt God's called me in ministry. I felt God's nudge and push. I never heard a vocal saying, Brian, you need to do this. But I felt the nudge to go that direction. And you might not have felt a nudge or a call, but we all have, within the scriptures, our duty as a believer. We were all told that we are to go out and make disciples. That's our job, that's our role, that's our duty as believers. So if we don't know what God's will is in our lives, we know simply, if we bear it down to basic things, we know that we're supposed to go out and make disciples. In all things. But sometimes our excuses get in the way of that. Well, I don't know enough of the Bible to really talk to people about that. Or I'm not really gifted speaking. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Moses does that same excuse. Or it might be, I'm just one person. Who am I to go tell people about Jesus? I'm just one person. Sometimes we might throw this exact same excuse to God about what we're supposed to do in our lives. So we can have, see Moses' excuse, and we can maybe parallel that to even some excuses we've given in our own lives. But here's God's response to Moses and to you and to us. I'll say that, I'll put my name in the hat as well. But his response is, I am with you. I am with you. He goes on, he says, I will be with you, and this will be your sign that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. And so he tells Moses, I'm going to be there with you. And God tells you, and tells me, and
It tells us. Even though the call or the nudge or the word might be a little scary, he says, I'm going to be with you. Don't fear this thing that I've called you to do. Go do it. I'll be there. I'll be there with you. And so we need to make sure that we are reminded of that he is with us all the time. But that doesn't stop with Moses. Moses gets that answer. He says, well, hey, I got another one here. I get one out of my pocket. Throws it down. He says, Moses said to God, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, well, what is his name then? What shall I tell them? So then his next excuse is, well, what shall I say? What should I say? So Moses is kind of giving excuses. I'm going to go there and they're going to say, I've come here. I'm come here from God. And what if they say, well, what is his name? They don't truly believe me. And I don't know what to say if they say, all this stuff. I don't know the words to give. Sometimes we maybe have said those same types of things. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can accomplish that. I don't know if I can say those words or do those things or teach that class or lead this group or whatever, because what am I to say? What am I to do? So our excuse and Moses' excuse can be parallel again. I've seen it, I've heard it, I've probably said it myself a few times. And God's basic response back is, I will tell you. What he says to Moses is, then God says to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said, say to the Israelites, the Lord of the God, your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name by which I am to be remembered from generation to generation. Then he says, go and assemble the elders. He tells them, go get all the leaders, and he goes, and tell them where I'm going to take them. That they're going to go back home. And so Moses hears this where God says, I'm going to give you words to tell. And here's who I am. They ask who I am? Who sent you? Here is what you're supposed to say. Say, I am. And he says, not only that, say, I'm the Father, or I'm the God of your father, and do that part. And say, and then we're going to take you back to the land that was promised. They would get that. They would understand the land that was promised. Because remember, they're crying out to God. They want to go back home. And so God gives Moses again what to say. And he says, I will tell you, here's what to say. But then that doesn't stop there. And again, a lot of times, that doesn't stop with our excuses either. Sometimes we go on farther. And he says, so he gives the question, will they believe? Will they believe it? So here's Moses, when he says in chapter 4, he says, what if they do not believe me or listen to me and say, the Lord did not appear to you? And so we can say, well, people might question who we are, or the giftedness, or even the power of God. And so Moses gives this excuse, and our excuse can be very similar to when we try to reach out to people, or when we try to speak to people like Jesus. Well, what if they don't believe me? I don't want to look like a fool. What if I don't have the right answers, or what if I don't have the right tone, or what if I don't have, we can give more excuses about that part of it. And God's response to Moses is, I'll give you the proofs. And God tells us the same. And whatever it is, it might be about creation. I know some people might say, well, it's very hard to talk about creation at the scientific level. No, it's not. It's very easy. Just look out there and see what has man-made that looks like that. Nothing. It's not the same. Even when they try to clone, doesn't work the same, doesn't live the same. And that's where we got to look at it in our lives. God will give us the proofs of our existence. Now here, what he does with Moses, he gives him a couple different miracles that take place that he'll later use some of them in the plagues. One, he tells him, he throws the stick down, and it turns into a snake, to a viper, where he's fearful. He ran. It says in verse 3, Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. When Moses took that staff and threw it down and turned a snake, he ran. That would be my wife's reaction in a second. Just the other day, I was just about to start filming this week, one of our midweek studies in the office, and here she comes, banging on my office window, snake! I'm like, okay. She goes, no, now. So I moved quickly. And it didn't come. Yeah. She says it was this way, because we have anacondas in Indiana. So he was fearful, and so he ran. And God says, reach out. And this is what I love about this verse, is if you know anything about snakes, he says, reach out and grab it by the tail. Okay, grabbing a viper by the tail is the smartest thing in the world to do, because the nasty end's on the other end, and it can come around and get you. And so what he does, he grabs it and then turns back into the staff. But then he tells him to put his hand in his cloak, and he pulls it out, and his hand's leprous. And then he says, put it back in, he pulls it back in, come out, and it's fine. And then he talks to him about doing things with water and turning it into blood. Look what you do with the Nile in the plagues. But so he said, I will give you the proofs, I will give you the examples, I will give you more than the words. Because really what he's going is, they're not going to accept my words, so I need something powerful. I need a big kaboom. I need something with some pizzazz. I need something to wow and shock them into believing. And he says, okay, here you go. And God gives us those things too. God gives us those things that we can do, the tasks and the roles that He has asked us to do and believe as well. So then, but then again, Moses isn't done. He has more excuses, more things to get in the way. He says, but how can I talk? How can I talk? His excuse is, he says in verse 10 of chapter 4, he says, Moses said to the Lord, O Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither in the past, nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and of tongue. So what is he saying? He's saying that I'm not a gifted speaker and I can't speak very well. He's saying I'm just not that, I'm not a leader of people. I just don't put me in front of people because they're not going to get it, because I can't speak well. So Moses is giving God that excuse. He's saying, but what about this problem I have about talking? And you know that I have this, and you know that I've never been eloquent or good to speak or in that way. He already knows the inability. But here's, when we look at this, God already knows the inabilities of His children. He knows the shortcomings of those He calls. But He will always make up for those shortcomings. He'll be ready for this. He knows ahead of time the shortcomings that are going to take place, and He will make it up because He is all-knowing. Here in this instance, He had already arranged Aaron to start making his way to Moses. Aaron's brother was already on his way. But our excuses as well. We can say, well, I'm just not gifted in that way. I don't know about getting in front of people and speaking or talking to somebody individually about that. That just seems very personal, very hard. I don't know how I can do that. I think Paul tells us that he had difficulty speaking too, but that never stopped Paul. Matter of fact, it probably drove Paul to speak and do more. But we need to make sure that we are not using what we have and what God has given us as an excuse that we can't. And God's response is amazing. It's powerful, and to me, it's such a way that if you read this, when you've given these different things, I think it can be very convicting as well. The Lord said to him, "Who gave man his mouth? Who made makes him deaf or mute? Who gives him sight or makes him blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak, and will teach you what to say. So he said, who gave you your mouth? Who gives them blindness or can give them the sight? Who gives them the hear or who gives them any of those traits, the senses? Who gives that to anybody? I do. And he says, no, what I love about it is he says that, he says, now go! Keep going! Quit fussing about it and just go and do what I've asked you to do. And I think that's, so many times we are so bullheaded because we just want to wait to till we think that we're ready, and God says you're already ready. God says you're already ready because I am with you. I will help you in those times. I will make it right when you don't feel like you're 100%. I will give you the words to say. I will give you the proofs that you need. I am who I am. And that's all we need. But sometimes we start thinking, we look in the mirror, we start thinking about ourselves. We start, well, I am not, I can't, and I am unable, or I have shortcomings, or I have these problems. And God says that I'm bigger than all of them. And we need to remember that God is bigger than all of that. That God is bigger than all the excuses, all the problems, all the things that can be put in our way not to do something. I see different times you see in the news, you see those stories of just amazing feats. And as a wrestler, growing up as a wrestler, I had a good friend of mine, Kevin, who was a wrestler from Gibson Southern High School. Kevin, at the age of 8, fell into a grain auger and lost his left leg. So he was, throughout his life, during those formative years, baseball and being a kid, climbing trees, he had to go through surgery upon surgery. He lost his leg all the way up to the hip. There was nothing there. All the way up to the hip was where he lost the leg. And but I got to watch Kevin through the years. He was a year ahead of me in high school, and watching him wrestle was something magnificent. I've seen even better things than Kevin, but Kevin was one I got to see in person, shake his hand, know him. But when he used, you think about your legs are the heaviest part of your body. So he lost one of them. So he was a big kid for his weight class. He loved that. So people would come, and of course, you think that if a kid comes out there hobbling on one leg, what do you think you want to do? You go after that leg. If I get that leg, he wanted you to go after that leg. Because he had these big old arms that just go, pick you up and throw you back down. But he never used the excuse that he could not do. You can see this kid, he'd come out with his crutches, and he would be coming out with one leg out to the edge of the mat, fold up his crutches, hand them to his coach, and hop out to the middle of the center of that mat. What was awesome at this time was when state finals would be at Market Square, or Market Arena, downtown Indianapolis. You got to see him wrestle in the finals, the state finals. He's out there, and so there's one big light, just boom. And there's thousands upon thousands. You see him do the same thing that he did all 4 years of high school. He hand his crutches to his coach and hobble out there to the middle of that net. And I've seen other wrestlers with no legs go out there, and they just move their hands out there. I've seen kids with no arms drive a car, brush their teeth. I've seen people who can't speak still tell people about Jesus. I've seen kids who are blind do wonderful and magnificent things. I've seen kids who are deaf do extraordinary things. It's because they don't take, I can't. They drive through it. And then those of us who have abilities and opportunities, we use excuses and get them in our way. And here, he wanted to try to use the physical realm to say, I can't do that. I'm not gifted here. And he's like, Fuya, I got so much more for you. And then he has one last one. He has one last question, excuse throw up, but it's just the flag. He throws up the white flag. He surrenders. And Moses flat out says in verse 13, "Oh Lord, please send someone else to do it." And that should be convicting to all of us. Because when we are not doing what God's called us to do, we are saying exactly that. When we decided, well, I'm not gifted at working with youth or kids, so I'm not going to do that. Guess what? That means someone, you're just saying someone else. Just send someone else to do it. And you might say, well, there might be a need to teach adults, or there might be a need to do different things around the building, or there might be a painting job that needs to be done. Oh, I don't want to do that. Just send somebody else. Send somebody else to do it, because I don't want to. And it's not just about that we just serve within this place. It's the opportunities that we have to serve our community and those who are around us, our neighbors, and those worldwide when it comes to missions and that we support. But here Moses kind of laid the last one out. He said, "Oh Lord, please send someone else." So that was his last plea. His plea was just send someone else. Just make that happen. When you send another, I don't want to do it. And we might not use those audible words, but our actions speak maybe that way. When we don't do the things that we know that need to be done for the kingdom, we're pretty much telling God, send it up. I don't think that you could give me the words to say. I don't think you can give me the abilities to make it happen. I don't think you can give me the proofs. I don't think anything. Just send somebody else. Because I don't believe. And that's really what we're saying. God's response was just very powerful. And it says in verse 14, it says, "The Lord's anger burned against Moses." And you thought he was scary before that. Moses hid in fear when he heard his voice. Now he just made God mad. When you make God mad, he brings hail fire down and destroys cities and floods the world. That's God's anger. And he just made God mad. I wouldn't want to be, well, he didn't have sandals on at this time, but wouldn't want to be in his sandals after this. But Moses said to him, he says, or God said to Moses, "What about your brother Aaron, the Levite? I know he can speak well. He is already on his way to meet you, and his heart will be glad when he sees you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both you speak, and you will teach, and will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you, and it will be as if it was your mouth, and as if you were God to him. But take this staff in your hand, so you can perform miraculous signs with it." Moses concedes and goes. And really, up to this point, Moses, if you look at Moses' life, Moses really isn't stacked up to be who we look at Moses. Moses is it. We have the law. We have him taking the people. We see the Charlton Heston Moses. You see this powerful man. But when you look at up until this point, Moses is horrible. Moses is just not a very good person. Even if some people might say, well, he stuck up for the Israelite. He killed a man. That was murder. That was pretty big. Because if you read that, he looked left, he looked right, made sure no one was looking, then he killed him. He wasn't doing it out of defense for that poor Israelite. He just killed a man. So up until this point, we don't see, there's not a great story about it. If the story would end right now of Moses, we'd go, man, why do we even hear about this guy? He's horrible. Because, he kills a man, then he buries and hides it. When he finds it, he gets caught, he runs. So he's a fugitive on the run. When God says, hey, I want you to do something for me, He has excuse after excuse after excuse. But that is us. And the only thing that makes us right is Jesus. Pretty much what God gives Moses there in his response to his plea, if we sum it all up, it's God saying to Moses, I have a bigger plan. I have a bigger plan. And when we start throwing those excuses and roadblocks and things in front of God about what we are to do, God's response to us is, I have a bigger plan. And because of Jesus, we are gifted with something that is more powerful than anything that Moses could ever understand. And Moses was there with the plagues. Moses never really understood and got to experience the gift of the Holy Spirit. We do. We have a part of God in us to accomplish anything that God has called us to do. And He's asked us to do the simple things. Share the gospel with others. And what are we doing to do that? Because it can't be just, well, I go to church on Sunday. That's not sharing the gospel with anybody. It's sharing that gospel. Letting people know about Jesus Christ so that they can have a saving relationship with the God that created them. At this time, we're going to have the praise team come forward. And we might, during this time of invitation, we offer to those who've never given their lives to Jesus an opportunity to say, I know I need Jesus in my life. I need more than just the words. I need the Holy Spirit to move me. And also, so that I can be saved from the punishment of the sins that I could have committed. But also, this is also a time where we give to those who are believers. And you might be a believer and you've thrown every one of these excuses down to God. And it might be an opportunity for you to say, I am tired of questioning God and making excuses. I'm going to do what I'm called to do. I'm going to do what He's been nudging me for all this time. And I'm going to give Him the glory as I do it. So if you would please stay with me as we sing the song of invitation. Then Mother's Day, we didn't forget about you moms. We have something special for the moms too, because we were under quarantine during the Mother's Day time. So we didn't forget you guys. We do have something for moms. So dads and moms, when you leave, make sure you get something that in your hand before you leave. Again, we don't have Sunday school classes. We don't have Sunday nights. We're just kind of taking it easy. We're going in slowly through this process, and we'll have more coming up. We do have some youth activities that are going on. They're outside activities. You'll see some different information. Kids, make sure you take your clipboards and put them back, and the preschooler and a little older guys, if you have the baskets, make sure you put those back, so that we'll be rotating those in and out through the next several weeks for you guys to do that. So, but awesome, great to see everybody. Glad you're here. It's a great time that we can have to celebrate, and it's sunshine, so the Methodists down the road didn't get rained out, so good for them. So, let's have a word of prayer, and then we'll be dismissed for tonight. Father, we come to you now. We thank you so much for this day. Father, we thank you for our fathers. We thank you for the example that He has given, that you have given us as men to live our lives for others. Lord, thank you for Jesus and His example that He has given for us to serve. And Lord, as we honor dads this day, as we think about the sacrifices that many of them have made for our lives, we just thank you for them. But Lord, we thank you so much for the sacrifice that you made that is so much greater. Father, we thank you this time. We love you. We lift you up. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. See you next week, folks. Love you.